fun fact about the last time Andy Wilmot drove a touring car in a touring car meeting, 2015, the year in which I first started going to touring car meetings. That's how long ago it was. So, expectations weren't very high when he was confirmed to be taking the place of Jack Fussell, who suffered a concussion, so I hope he has a quick recovery from that. Anyway, Wilmot, towards the back of the qualifying order and in most of the practice sessions, win the races in what were pretty hectic with quite a few non-finishers and people benefiting. Wilmot, I think, did a very good steady job. I think pretty much stayed taking care of pretty much any problems. Not sure what happened in race 3. I think he finished a lap down, so must have had a small problem. But not other than that, 3 finishes. Almost got his best ever result, but taking into account his previous best is 18th back in 2013, but there were probably nowhere near 29 drivers. So a decent effort, and as I said, expectations weren't very high, so not too bad. And I think if Trade Price Cars, his own team, he gets to drive for his own team, which is a rare treat, I have to say. But if they ever need a replacement driver at any point next season, I think Wilmot would be a very good choice, a very sensible choice. So not too bad, Andy. So he can go in C tier for probably not quite having pace, but it's nowhere near a D for staying out of trouble and keeping it steady. And now Andy Neat failed to finish race 1 in a little instance that might have been more his fault than the other driver. Jade Edwards again. That's funny, isn't it? Anyway, didn't see what happened in race 2, but he really could have benefited from all the non-finishers there, so that was a lost opportunity. And then kept it going for his final touring car race with a 22nd place, ahead of drivers he ideally should be ahead or at least racing in the race. So yep, not too bad from Andy Neat. So I think he could. I don't think he will go any higher than Wilmot. He can go in C tier also. And it was confirmed that Andy Neat would officially be retiring from touring cars this year, to the disappointment of quite a few people. But I have to say, for the reasons he's doing it, to help to do a much more important job being a father and help his son Aidan succeed, who's doing very, very well in British F4, which I'm really pleased. I think it's a better decision for Andy. So yeah, if you happen to be watching this, Godspeed, old man. Hope this decision is worth it, and that Aidan Neat becomes a really big name in the single seater or just racing scene as well. But yeah, and just remember, the people who gave you any flack for anything that might have happened in your career, just remember that those people haven't driven a touring car in their life. You have, and so you had a great, and I'm sure you had a hell of a time. So Godspeed, old man. Nick Hamilton, again, not too many 2 DNFs, which cost him a decent position, but other than that, I think he was actually I think he was in the fight more often when he before his DNFs, and when more often than not he's been a few seconds behind the back markers. So no, not too bad. I think Brands Hatch GP might be a better track for him. It certainly seemed that way. So for having better pace than usual, I think I'll give Hamilton a B tier. Hopefully, like I said before, how I think he might give something else a try next year. But if not, hopefully this will be a good fight. This will be a good final meeting for him. And Jack Mitchell finally moves ahead of Hamilton and Neat in the points by, well, technically not points because he didn't achieve any this year, but gets ahead of them just by getting his best ever result of 17th, and probably could have had a decent chance of getting points in race 2 and possibly race 3 before his little incident, which is unfortunate. But due to having the pace and from getting himself into a points position that he pretty much earned, Mitchell could go in B. Parfit now didn't quite. Again, another driver who could have benefited from all those DNFs, but they actually finished these races just not with a few problems here and there, which cost him a best result. First DNF in several meetings for him, which is a sad way to end. But either way, I'm sure he's very enthusiastic about coming back next year. I have a good feeling he will if he enjoyed it that much. He has every right to stay. So not too bad season for a season for Parfit. Due to being in the fight again, what he was before he had any problems, he did have the pace, so Parfit can also go in B. Jade Edwards now couldn't quite add to her single point of this year. Came very close in race 2 with her second best result of 16th. Very encouraging. I think staying out of trouble is the key for her. She's seemingly done that because no incidents have happened, but finishing the races has hasn't been too much of a problem for her. I think she will adjust to that as the years go by, and that I don't think her 1 point. I think she'll add to that single point next year if she's given another chance. So not too bad for Edwards. For having the pace and getting a decent results in 2 top 20s in the end. So I think yep, she's very much earned a B tier. Now South Belt, who got his best ever results on 13th, which is pretty close to that reverse grid region, which is a nice surprise. But obviously we know P9 was number 9 was taken out of the hat anyway. But still, 13th, second ever points finish of the year. It's debatable over whether he'll stay next year, if that was good enough to earn him his another go at that Speedworks Toyota. But not a bad return. He got the monkey off his back and he's got points. And he kept it steady for most of the day, most of the season, for most of Sunday as well. So yep, not too bad from Smelts. He can also go in B. I think it's going to be a busy one for that year today. Speaking of Sams, Osborne now, and same as Smelts could have got into that top 12 region for race 2, which is a very exciting result to get. Knowing the opportunity to get a reverse grid pole for race 3, but just missed out on that in the end. So good steady day with a single point to finish, but being in that top 20 where he ideally should be, it's good consistency. So he can get a B, and I think for next year, could have depending on who else is racing and is eligible for that trophy. I think he has a real good shot of getting Jack's year's trophy. I mean, finishing runner-up by quite a distance to Dan Robotham. But Robotham was a class of his own this year. But yeah, Osborne has a good shout this year because he's been ahead. He has been racing drivers who towards the back, but also qualifying and racing. There have been times where he's been comfortably ahead of them, and arguably the best, I'd say, AM driver if you do the pro-am and AM classes that Genetic Championship has. But hopefully touring cars won't do anything like that. But you get my point. Osborne is ahead of is when he's good, he's comfortably ahead of the slower guys. But he just needs to stay out of trouble a bit more next year, and who knows? Yep, Jack's trophy might well be his next year. But either way, very decent third season for Osborne. Carl Bordley now, only 1 point finish in the end. Had an incident at the start of race 3, which little incident at the start of race 3, which led to a DNF. So probably missed opportunity season for the Infinity, but I think he's seemingly enjoyed himself, and that's the main thing. He's got his best results. He's a first ever top 10. That's still a good steady job, I think. There were question marks over whether he'd be staying next year, but who knows? I'm not going to make any predictions, but yeah, due to not having quite as many good results as the others, he can go in C. Aaron Taylor-Smith now didn't get off to a good start his day when he had a small problem in race 1, which left him towards back at the start of race 2, and probably couldn't make too much progress in the end, only managing 20th, but returning to the points in the final in race 3, which is decent recovery. But I think knowing the pace Taylor-Smith has had in the second half of this year, particularly, he definitely would have been one of the biggest beneficiaries of all his DNFs, and might have even been up there with teammate Goff, but we're not sure. But anyway, good effort from Taylor-Smith. He can go in B, and a very, very solid return to form. A great change of luck. Could have been better, having started on the front row for race 3. But Tom Chilton finally gets above B or C, or did I put him in D this year? I'm not sure. But anyway, 3 top 10s in the end. Best result of 6. Right at the depth, and seeming more comfortable with that BMW than any time up previous in the season. It's great. It was great to see him up there, seemingly enjoying himself, having some presence in the race. So yeah, where else could he go over than A tier? Yeah, very good job to Chilton. If it does turn out to be his last meeting in a BMW, if he goes back to front row drive, which suits him better, I think. Tim Harvey agreed with me. I think he'll be more in his prime next year. But either way, it's glad the season with in a BMW was had a very bright ending. Rory Jackson now, and again missing out on luck, but when he's finishing races, he's up there in top 10, challenging guys. He's been guys who would definitely usually be quicker than him. Definitely showing the pace that he had at the start of the year, particularly in Snetterton when he got that podium. So yeah, very good pace, and even with the DNF in race 2, which cost him a lot of time, he still recovered magnificently to get to 11th in race 3. So Jackson, if he is retained by any team next year, I think he's worthy of getting at least a drive next year. Maybe not with MD Motorsport. We'll have to see. I think he's worthy of getting a drive. So Jackson, due to pace, will get A tier. And Goff now, and Brian's Hatch's track he definitely suits. I think he's taken poles here in the past when in that Eurotech Honda from years back. Similar pace to what he had when the last time we were here, which was probably when he was most comfortable with that Cooper, it seemed. Getting a top 10, a good 8th place in race 3. Very decent effort, so Goff can return to A tier. Tom Oliphant now, another DNF in race 2 when again, I don't keep saying it, but should have, but not finishing race 2 was cost people plenty and benefit, and gave other people plenty to benefit from it. So, but moved up very well in race 3 to return to the points and end a very disappointing year in the BMW, which was looking so bright after the last time we were at Brands Hatch, but ultimately dropping to 16th. And questions are to be asked now over what he'll do next. Hopefully still in touring cars, but maybe now for a different team. I'm not sure. But Oliphant's for on a good pace and returning to the points, he can go in B. So ahead of him, Chris Miley now, another misfortunate driver in race 2, but return to the points just like Jackson's race after. Would have had good pace for when he was finishing. So therefore, Smiley can go in B also. And Jason Plato, one of only 2 drivers this year to have finished every single race. And finish every race that well, but good pace in race 3 to get a top 10 from a lowly grid position. So not a bad recovery. I don't think it will really shock me if Plato announces he's switching teams next year. I think the Vauxhall suited him much better in his first season with that team. But overall, for finishing races, having speed on Saturdays, maybe having to work on his starts and taking his battles better next year, he will seem like the old Plato. So for that reason, Plato can go in B for this weekend. And Adam Morgan, again another poor run of luck, another DNF, which cost him dearly in races 2 and 3. But started off well with a 14th in race 1. Not quite anywhere near the pace of teammate Chilton, which I'd be surprised by, I think, given the rest of the season. But Morgan, not a bad first year driving a BMW. He'll probably stick with his family team next year, and hopefully having adjusted to the BMW a little bit, he'll return to that top 10 where he should be. So Morgan, yeah, because of the poor luck and not much in terms of recovery, he'll go in C. Stephen Jelly now, the run of points finishes came to an end, and then came race 2 with definitely the one making the most progress and benefiting from everyone else's misfortunes, getting up to 9th, getting reverse grid pole for the. Let me just work this out. Maybe even the 4th time this year. It might even be more. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was Mr. Reverse Grid Pole this year, and not once and none of those turned into a race win, sadly. But I think one is pretty close. If he changes his method of attack and defending, I think that race win it's close. He's within touching distance of that, but needs better luck. And sadly, race 3. Absolutely no luck, and missed out on a win, a podium, and points. So dropping to pretty much the back, which is a real shame. So, but for having pace in race 2, Jelly can go in A tier. Dan Lloyd now, comfortably one of the best point scorers in since the last 3 meetings at least, and getting pretty close to the 200 mark and that top 10 points for the first time. This was a real defining year for Lloyd. It had to be in a Power Max Vauxhall, and he made the most of it and got another podium, a good top 5, and seemingly managing the ballast a lot more now with experience and practice. So very impressive from Lloyd. I think it'll be a no-brainer for him being at PMR next year. That seems to be the team for him now. So excellent last few meetings, and looking forward to this is Daniel Lloyd's arrival. So, for another good consistent weekend and the exciting prospect of next season, Lloyd can go in A. And Cedar Proctor, pole position. lost out to teammate Josh Cook. We didn't really see the move, but well, it was quite early on actually. I do remember staying behind him and getting second, another podium for him to at least secure that second 10th in the championship for the first time. Unfortunate DNF in race 2, it's seemingly a brake failure, but I'm not sure if he was touched or not. And unfortunately not able to make much progress in race 3, not returning to the points. But overall, I think it would have been unfair really if Proctor had missed out on top 10 this year. He's been worthy of that, despite missing and beating. This has been a defining year for him as well. And I'm excited, and hopefully he keeps that season at BTCC this year, because it's the best opportunity he's ever had, and he made the most of it. And he's earned another year with that team, I'm sure. So well done to Proctor for not quite having the pace in race 3. He'll go in B, but it's still a very mightily impressive season. And a Jack Sears Trophy winner returning to the podium for the first time since Oulton Park. Rowbottom gets a fast lap in race 2 as well, so very good pace overall. I think had he had the pace that he had last time we were at Brands Hatch and maintained that pace, and the Oulton Park pace as well, certainly I think he would definitely be, he would have been comfortably in that top 8 in the end, but just missed out on that in the end. I think he'll very much settle for top 10 in the end. Comfortably Jack Sears Trophy winner, and he'll be a very exciting prospect in that Dynamics Honda for the future, I'm sure. So Rowbottom for returning to very good pace and returning to the podium as well. He can go in A. And Ian Moffat now also getting his first top 10 in the championship. Not the best start to his week, not the best conclusion to his weekend. Getting an 8th place, troubling Colin Turkington and making sure that he doesn't challenge Ash Sutton too much. But Moffat doing the job of his teammates. Unfortunately, little incident in race 2. Dropped him back and didn't want much of improvement in race 3, sadly. So sad way to conclude the season, and with one decent result but 2 poor ones. So Moffat can go in B. And Roy Butcher, a very sudden drop from the pace of Silverstone and Donington Park. Not really quite lucky to get up to 7th, to be honest, in race 2. Thanks to all the non-finishers. But and with all the grass in the radiator, I was certain he would have to pit for that. But kept it going somehow. Got a points finish and never really challenged anyone, despite starting 3rd for race 3. Ultimately dropped to 9th. So yeah, surprising lack of pace for Butcher this weekend, which probably cost him 6th in the championship, which was probably probably what he was aiming for and the best he could hope for. But yeah, real surprise that one. But Butcher still had a great season. He can go in B. And Gordon Shedden now, once again, actually maintained his pace from Donington, getting 2 podiums in the first 2 races, and staying well with a lot of ballast in race 3. Yep, I think getting that 6th place in the end, best of the rest. I think everyone who wasn't Sutton, Turkington, Cook, or Ingram or Hill, I think they were aiming to get that 6th place in the end, and Shedden's the one who got it in the end. And I think I think it felt like that kind of season, the best of the rest season, with misfortune here and there, but getting the good points where they mattered most. So well done, Shedden. He'll be our first S tier driver for this video for consistency, podiums, and managing the ballast very well. And Jake Hill, only 5th in the end, which when really he felt like I don't know. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. It was his best result, and he was up there in the championship throughout the whole season. With podiums and points finishes here and there, and finally adding to his wins count. But I don't know. So knowing how much closer he was to at least 2nd in the championship, I feel he might have felt a little bit unfulfilled by that. But either way, it was still fantastic, and the pace here was very decent as well. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to make too many places when there were all in the particularly chaotic races, but in the end, comfortable 5th in the championship, his best result, and things can only get better for Jake Hill. So A tier for this weekend. And Tom Ingram, really unlucky for not really staying pretty consistent in race 1, not really managing the ballast, staying pretty much where he was, and then a little incident in race 2 cost him a lot of time and probably would have been real favourite for a reverse grid pole had it not been for that, but ultimately got into the top 12, and then came very similar pace he had to race 2 at Donington, where he was charging through, managing the tyres, That accelerated, that high on die is very exciting with no ballast in it. And Ingram ultimately got his first third place of the year. Very good reward. And to be within touching distance of Turkington and Cook in the end, I think that will be a very satisfying end to his first season with high on die. Should be exciting next year. Hopefully he'll have figured that car out a little bit better, and the team will have adjusted to all the things that they struggled with this year. So not bad from Ingram. This for the great pace from race 3. I think that's good enough for us here, I think. And Josh Cook started his season off the same way, finished his season the same way it started, with a win in race 1 and 2, and pretty much keeping it steady for race 3 even with full ballast. And I think was very close to getting that second from Turkington, but with the full ballast, even that was going to be difficult for him. But still hung close to his best results in the championship in his career. So where else could he go over the next year? There was a rumor, quite shocking one, that he might not even be on the grid next year, which is absolutely preposterous, to be honest. Hopefully, I hope those are wrong and he's back in that BTCC Honda, which is the team for him. That is his team, and those rumors best be wrong, because things could only get better for Josh Cook. He could be if it's not Sutton next year, it could very well be Cook for the championship. And Colin Turkington, very good pace in races 1 and 2, challenging Sutton, getting past Sutton in race 2, and getting pretty close to the podium in race 2, which probably would have given some satisfaction. It wouldn't have closed the championship, it wouldn't have drawn him any closer to that, but it was still having the pace. This late season pace was, I think Turkington will be very satisfied by. And in the end, first non-finish of the year, he was very close to getting that good run of reliability. Ingram was the other driver who finished every race, by the way, but Turkington just missed out on achieving that, and almost lost second in the championship, but just hang on through consistency, being as consistent as ever. But as I've said before, things might have to change next year for Turkington. He might have to be consistent, but also take more of an Ayrton Senna approach to his racing. So yeah, not too bad from Turkington for the pace in race 1, 2, and no thanks to the bad luck in race 3. Turkington can go in A. And Ash Sutton, probably another easy choice for him. S tier again, managing the ballast as he has done the whole season. The championship ballast, keeping it steady in race 1, staying steady in race 2, and maybe getting a slightly better result. But then comes race 3, and if he hasn't achieved anything of note by then, he will in race 3. And ultimately that was a 5th win of the year, to first one since. First win since Ruxton, right back on the top step, and a wonderful way to conclude a third championship season. And he stated his intentions. That's answered my question. He wants to go for 4 championships. He wants to go for 5 championships and be the greatest touring car driver in Britain. And he might already be to some people, but yes, no, absolutely very exciting times for Sutton in championship number 3. If it ends up being his final, he will crave all 3 of those. I think he's very satisfied with what he's achieved, but that lovely drive to achieve even more, that's something we look up to, and something very admirable we can say about Ash Sutton. So congrats on championship number 3. If there are more on the table, I look forward to watching them, and to see those records broken in my lifetime would be very cool. So congrats Sutton on championship number 3, S tier comfortably. So that's my ratings for this weekend. Overall, the season not the most competitive, I have to say. The top 5 were pretty consistent throughout. They're easily the favourites throughout. Not quite as many race winners as we've come accustomed to in the last couple of years, but still pretty competitive, and a lot of people showing their face and getting little bright moments here and there, which is great to see. And so I've enjoyed this season. It's still left me with that sad feeling whenever the season's over, and like, oh god, now the 6-month wait with no touring cars. But then the season comes up and it flies by as always, and we're left with this feeling all over again. But if you followed this season along with me, hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Hopefully see you next year where we can discuss the season as before. Not sure if I'll do the racing video again, because I know I don't sound the best when I'm off script, and these videos are a little bit of an effort to make at times. So we'll see what we do next year. We'll do something, I'm sure, because I still love touring cars. It's still my favorite motorsport, and I want to. Not many. Not there aren't enough touring car YouTubers out there, and I'd like to join that very exclusive club. And it's nice. You know, it's nice, and it's a nice club to be a part of. So yeah, thanks. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. And if you've been watching the full series, see you next year for touring cars. And see you for the rest of the uploads to conclude this year. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.